So now it's time to introduce our Ward 2 candidates for tonight's question and answer panel. Sitting in number 1 spot, and these are all random draw tonight. Jonathan Leach. In the middle spot is Rob Pope, and at the far end is Cathy Redden. So we're going to follow this order tonight as we go through our questions, and we'll keep rotating them so everyone gets to go first eventually. So the question number 1, and this is going to be a 2-minute response time to each of you. And this is one of the questions that you had.
Ewen, opening remarks first for them.
Yes, I missed that. Yes. Okay. Then I'm going to back up a little bit and say, let's have some opening remarks. And Jonathan, you get to go first.
Hi, my name is John Leach. I've lived here all my life. We immigrated from Britain in 1988, where we grew up in Trent Hills. I'm a small business owner. I'm a licensed journeyman by trade. The reasons that I'm running for council is we need more progress. We need more accountability in Trent Hills. We need some new blood, and I want to be your voice in this area.
Thank you, Jonathan. Since I got things out of order, this part will be up to 3 minutes. So you each have 3 minutes. And second on the list would be Rob.
Okay. Thank you. I'm Rob Pope, and I'm running for councillor in Ward 2. First of all, I'd like to thank Trent Hills Chamber of Commerce for hosting this evening's event. I'm in between glasses at the moment to meet your candidates for the 2022 municipal election, everyone else who's running the event, and of course, everyone in attendance. I'm a longtime resident of Trent Hills, and my wife and I have raised our family here. Living just outside of Camelford, we know the farms and rural families have different wants and needs than families in more urban areas, or at least different priorities. From our experience, the Trent Hills area offers residents and visitors a great place to live, work, and play. Our family makes the most of the amenities and events, and whenever possible, we buy local. As a municipality, we too should strive to do the same to support our local businesses and services. I've had a 35-year career in information technology, designing, implementing, and improving software and business processes to improve service and profitability for my clients. In mid-October, I'm moving into semi-retirement, and will be able to allocate the time necessary to listen to constituents and to familiarize myself with the inner workings of the municipality. While I do not have any direct council experience, I've been a member of many boards over the years and have been president of the Curling and Racquet Club and the Rotary Club of Campbellford. Over the years, I've had a myriad of experiences with the municipal office here in town, building permits, lot severances, lot entrances, as well as owning a few local rental properties, which I no longer have. And in the time, one of my friends and I, we cooperated in relocating a large brick bungalow. During this campaign, I have encouraged Ward 2 residents to voice their concerns and issues, and they have done just that and then some. From talking with them, I've learned that their concerns are shared by residents of the other wards too. Vote for me and let me help with those concerns. I have deep roots in this community, and I'm proud of where I'm from and the people that live here. I have time and experience to help come up with creative solutions to our issues. And if elected, I will work hard, listen well, and help build a better community for all of us.
Good. Thank you, Rob. And last, Cathy, 3 minutes, please.
Thank you. I was born and raised on a farm in Brighton Township, and I first got to know this community when I was a member of 4-H and junior farmer clubs. I later moved to Campbellford to teach school, met and married my husband, and while our 2 sons were still young, I left teaching to work in our family business, Redden's Cable TV, which pioneered cable television and internet in this community. But I never lost my connection to my farm background, and I've enjoyed a lifetime of involvement with organizations providing leadership, assistance to rural and agricultural communities. This brought me into contact with rural leaders across Ontario and provided insight into how others have addressed many of the challenges that we're faced with. So as we touch on a number of priorities for Trent Hills, I want to single out 3 that are key for me for Ward 2. First and foremost, we must ensure the long-term viability and prosperity of our farm industry. Our agricultural lands are a non-renewable resource and vital for food production, but it's not enough to preserve the farmland. We must help preserve the farm families as well. By supporting on-farm diversified uses, agritourism, and value-added agriculture in addition to what they currently do, we can assist in keeping farmers on the land, improving their income streams, and providing additional employment opportunities. An influx of visitors to our parks and waterfront during COVID presented us with challenges that now must be addressed. There's no doubt we've been discovered, and we have to start by working together to develop plans to balance the use of our natural resources, keeping them safe and well-maintained for visitors, while allowing the local residents the ability to enjoy their own waterfront property. And finally, we need to ensure the reliability and safety of our roads and bridges. Good roads are the backbone of a rural community. They keep us connected. They allow for the movement of equipment, goods, supplies. They provide routes to recreational spots and passage for emergency vehicles. These assets must be well funded with long-term plans in place for their upkeep. I realize the last couple of years have been very challenging, but as we move forward, this community will benefit from strong, experienced leadership to help manage growth, attract new development, ensure financial stability, and create a sense of community well-being. I look forward to continuing the effective representation you're entitled to by being accountable to you, providing easy access to information, and ensuring opportunities to participate in the decision-making process. With your support and assistance, I will continue to help Ward 2 and the municipality of Trent Hills thrive, prosper, and grow into the future. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And thank you to all of you for keeping on time and having some great opening remarks. So now we can start the questions. And this was one of the advanced questions that was given to you. And the order of response will be Rob, then Cathy, then Jonathan. So the question is, if elected, how will you support and grow local tourism, business, and industry? Businesses have been hit hard during the pandemic and need all the help we can get. What is your plan to keep our small business community thriving? Start with Rob. Thank you. That's 2 minutes.
As stated in my opening remarks, I believe municipality should buy local unless there's no other viable options. Local businesses employ local workers, purchase products from local wholesalers and retailers, who in turn hire local workers, use local contractors, mechanics, legal and accounting firms who all shop at our local stores and eat in our restaurants. People in the stores and restaurants, they buy from other stores and restaurants, which in turn creates jobs which we desperately need in town. Perhaps not desperately, but definitely we need. As a municipality, I think supporting businesses starts with keeping our services, roads, sidewalks in good repair, our parks clean, green areas inviting, and of course we need to look after the safety of the area and be welcoming and inviting. I believe that by just doing that, Trent Hills exceptional business owners will give them a good framework to thrive.
Thank you, Rob. Cathy, 2 minutes, please.
Thank you. As a councillor, I've supported and participated in many activities that were meant to help our business community. Our staff are available to assist in overcoming red tape, providing access to funding, and connecting with different levels of government. We keep our infrastructure well maintained and ready to support any new development. We also have active and supportive business organizations in each of our urban centers, a long-standing partnership with the Trent Hills and District Chamber of Commerce, and a community development advisory committee that brings advice and recommendations to council. They've been available to support and encourage businesses in this community and will continue to be there with my support in the future. And my plans to help business. I'd like to expand the funding of the Community Improvement Plan to assist in the beautification, the accessibility, and energy efficiency of our commercial buildings. I'd like to bring representatives of special events and festivals together to discuss their issues and concerns and determine how we can make them even more of a success. I'd like to continue current discussions regarding the on-farm diversified uses to assist our farmers in developing new revenue streams and making their agricultural operations more viable. I'd also like to address those deficiencies identified by the recent influx of tourists and find ways to provide for more and better public washrooms, additional picnic tables, garbage cans, safe parking, and so on. And I want to establish the Friends of Crowbridge and develop a sustainable long-term plan for the future operations of Crowbridge Park. And finally, I'll give my support to attract and retain those individuals who will add to our local workforce. We need them desperately, and by encouraging a variety of housing opportunities, addressing challenges with our healthcare services, and providing additional recreation opportunities, we can bring them in and get them to work.
Thank you, Jonathan. 2 minutes, please.
As a small business owner in the area, I've found it very difficult in the past few years. I'm thankful for the tools like the Chamber of Commerce, the EIA, that have helped me and helped a lot of others. I would like to see that expanded more. I would like to see tax cuts and incentives to small business to entice them to come to the area and to attract new business. And whatever we can do in our power federally and provincially to help them through the way.
Thank you. Question number 2 was also an advanced question. What are your thoughts on attracting more doctors and healthcare professionals to the area to meet both the immediate needs and the future staffing of a new hospital? Cathy, you start this one again. 2 minutes, please.
Okay. Thank you. Well, most of us expect to have access to high quality health care, and when we don't, we start looking for answers and action. Based on my experience as a former chair of the hospital board, founding member of the Physician Recruitment Committee, and a member of your current council, I'm offering the following suggestions. First of all, we need to continue the current recruitment partnership between the hospital and the municipality. But we need to rework the funding arrangements and focus strictly on recruiting family physicians. We need to address the committee membership and ensure broad community representation and develop a workable strategy for both recruitment and retention. We need to investigate programs like community paramedicine, support our nurse practitioner-led clinics, and then join with other municipal leaders to lobby the province for additional space in family physician residency programs and improve the supply of all healthcare workers. So to prepare for this question tonight, I asked the doctor what he thought the municipality could do to attract more physicians. And he said, when doctors can practice anywhere they like, what does Trent Hills have that makes it stand out from the rest? Well, there are 2 important projects that would make us stand out and be a great benefit. The first is the completion of the Recreation and Wellness Center. It will be solid proof that we're committed to improving the overall health and well-being of our citizens. And the most important recruitment tool is having that new hospital. Municipal council needs to take a strong leadership role in supporting and expanding on the current efforts of the hospital to gain provincial approval and funding. In fact, as my time runs down, I'm going to challenge each and every one of you to make it a priority to do whatever you can do individually and collectively to ensure that both buildings become a reality. Thank you.
Thank you. Jonathan, your next 2 minutes, please.
I see the doctor issue in Trent Hills is a lot of a provincial issue. We need more. We need somebody on the hospital board for more of an oversight of how we can attract more doctors and nurses and nurse practitioners in the area. We really, we're talking about a new hospital. I think we have to focus more on staffing the hospital that we have now, more than anything. And I'm bringing more attention to that.
Thank you. Rob, 2 minutes, please.
Yeah, recruiting doctors, I mean, this is a province-wide issue. It's a shortage that's been caused by most of our provincial malpractice, not getting enough doctors out and going. I know the physician improvement program has been running for a long time, and the materials look very well done. But so far, we're having limited success. I think the new hospital will help attract people for that, but general practitioners are it's difficult getting them to come here. I think nurse practitioners and other methods of healthcare maybe to look at more than an actual doctor recruitment strategy. And we also must lobby the government for more programs and get them to properly certify our foreign trained doctors so they can practice in Ontario. The problem is that we actually have Canadian doctors who've got their licenses abroad who still can't come in and practice in a reasonable amount of time.
Great, thank you. Dave, we've got the fans going right now. Are you hearing, can everyone hear the candidates okay? Are you, Dave, you okay? We are? Okay, great, thank you. Okay, the question number 3, this requires a 1-minute response, and this is one you've not been made privy to. It's a long question, so bear with me. Respondents to a bike action survey identified improvements to active transportation infrastructure, such as adding bike lanes, improving trails, and improving route connectivity to bikes in Trent Hills. This would improve safety, increase ridership and accessibility for youth and seniors, and support health and wellness for residents, and reduce carbon emissions. So here's the question. Is making active transportation improvements a priority for you? And if so, how would you propose to make our municipality more bike friendly? And the order of responses time will be as in the order of the table: Jonathan, Rob, and Cathy. Jonathan, you have 1 minute, please.
I don't think it would be a priority. We're just coming out of the pandemic. We have a lot of other issues we have to take care of first. Once we have those other issues taken care of, then we can focus on issues like that.
Thank you. Rob?
Yeah, I for recreational, I believe we could open some road allowances for mountain bikes and so forth, make it easier to go along. I know the dam work has used to be able to cross the top of all the dams to make nice loops. Currently, there's only one dam left that you can go across at Pro Bay. And I think we have to work on recreational, but also when we're doing road work, if we can spend 5 or 10% more money and make it more bike friendly, then we should be doing it.
Thank you. And Cathy, 1 minute, please.
Okay, thank you. I'd just like to touch on the fact that there is probably a pretty incredible trail system going through our community right now. And in supporting that, there has been an application for some funding to actually put an active transportation plan in place to build on those and support them. And just to remind you, there's the Millennium Trail in Warkworth, the Hastings Trail, the Rotary Trail that goes around the river that everybody uses in the morning and the evenings and nonstop all hours. Plus the Trans-Canada Trail runs directly through Campbellford, comes through Seymour from the east and goes out to the west of Peterborough, and it connects up Paris Provincial Park, which is very important to that trail, and across the Randy Gorge, and then Seymour Conservation, which is another part of that system. We also have a cycling trail that goes out and is promoted heavily by the county. So there is already a great group of individuals in this community that's supporting it. And I think that we can only assist them to make it even better. And it says stop.
Okay, thank you. Question number 4 has been also been an advanced question. It's a long question, so there are some questions within it. I guess there's a lot of statements here, and there's a couple questions. So the next question is pedestrian safety. We heard from 2 residents regarding this issue. Here's what a longtime runner of Campbellford streets had to say. I know this is a dangerous place for pedestrians because drivers do not follow speed limits or pay attention when turning. And here's the question. Will you support the introduction of photo radar and red light cameras as a cost-efficient way to crack down on bad drivers? And another submission from Hastings says, it's becoming increasingly more dangerous to travel in urban centers and Trent Hills as a pedestrian. This puts children and the elderly at great risk. Speeding and aggressive driving have become the norm. I live in Hastings, but this is not just a Hastings problem. Want to witness it in person? Come and sit at the corner of bridge in front and watch as people completely ignore the only light in town, or watch as people blindly turn into pedestrians crossing the street. There are also issues in downtown Campbellford with speeding dirt bikes, motorcycles, vehicles, ATVs. And here's the question. If elected, what actions will you take to address this problem in Trent Hills? So this is a 2-minute response time, and we start with Rob.
I've talked to many local residents about road and pedestrian safety, and it is a concern. We've had several residents hit at crossings in Trent Hills. I think including Cathy Redden. Particularly, and many close calls. I've talked to many people who've been almost hit. I would be interested in investigating any ideas to calm traffic, including photo radar and red light cameras. They're being used quite a bit on this side of the GTA, but it would we'd have to do a cost benefit of it. In my opinion, well, the sidewalk on Bridge Street East at Doxy South has really bad sight lines, and I've had a couple of people mention that to me. And I think that's where a lot of the Campbellford area ones are. Actually, the last council meeting, they had 2 different speed, the Black Cat plus another one. I don't know if we use those every month or every. I know it was a June report, so that would be good to know. I was very surprised that the Bridge Street in Hastings, people go under the speed limit. Most of the traffic and pedestrian safe issues we have are all covered by our existing laws. But it's come to my attention that we do not have enough police to do proactive work. And that's no fault of the officers or the detachment. It's just that's just the way it seems to be. When I was reviewing municipal budgets, it appears that the amount we're paying for the OPP is similar in 2022 as what it was in 2016. Now we may be getting extra money from somewhere else to help with it, but 6 years and no increase seems to be unusual. And I know we don't have an unlimited budget. Oh,
Thank you.
who were I talking?
And Jonathan?
I do support the use of photo radar in this town, but I don't think it would be such an issue if we had a better budget for our police officers. The other issue that I see is the layout of the intersections within Campbellford. I'm not talking about Hastings. They get confusing. Now you have a straight through a turn. You have the stop, so you can't turn right. For the most of us, we do respect that. We come here on a Friday night in the summertime. It is all fair game. Everybody goes whenever they want to. For a guy that drives commercial vehicles through this town, I find both pedestrians and drivers are at fault. We all need to just sit back and relax and think of what we're doing. But the most important, we do need more police support in this area.
Thank you. And Cathy, 2-minute response, please.
Thank you. Well, whether we're out for a walk or a run or pushing a stroller or riding a bike, we've likely already had at least one close call. I myself was hit by a car a number of years ago as it turned left while I crossed in an intersection in Campbellford. But in response to concerns about similar situations now, council formed a mayor's traffic calming task force, and a number of its recommendations have been approved and some yet to come. So starting with the purchase of the mobile radar signs, they accompany the use of the Black Cat radar on streets and roads with speeding concerns. Photo radar was investigated, but the cost is prohibitive for Trent Hills. So we've asked Northumberland County to implement this program and investigate some more cost-effective solutions. A traffic calming policy is being prepared, and traffic safety calming measures are to be included in all new street construction projects, with the same measures added when old streets are upgraded. And it was also agreed that repainting should be done to update current on-road warnings. And other actions have also taken place. If you recall the dangerous pedestrian crossing at the east side of the Campbellford Bridge, it's been removed and improvements made to the light and turn signals. Approval has now been given for 2 pedestrian crossovers on Bridge Street in Hastings, along with improvements to meet accessibility standards there. And funding is being sought, as I said earlier, for the development of an active transportation plan with a focus on creating a system of trails so pedestrians and cyclists can move through our communities more safely. And the policing committee is currently addressing additional steps to address those motorcycle issues that we've been hearing and seeing. And yes, I do support the installation of photo radar and red light cameras, along with increased policing. If speeding and aggressive driving is what you choose to do, then you should pay for that choice.
Thank you. Number 5 question, again, is a 2-minute response. The next question states, in comparison with neighboring municipalities of similar size, Trent Hills is a very expensive place to live, with considerably higher taxes and water bills. Why are they higher, and what can be done to bring them in line with other communities? We'll start with Jonathan, and then Rob and Cathy. 2 minutes, please.
See, one of the reasons we have high water and sewer bills is we have aging infrastructure within this. We have new subdivisions going in in our communities that are going to need more water and sewer. Therefore, the water and sewer are going to be more. With the pandemic that's gone on and inflation, the properties have also values have inflated as well. We'll see that in our impact reassessments within the next couple of years. What we can do to help solve that is give incentives, whatever we can do, and work with the province and federal for any aid that we can do.
Thank you. Rob, 2 minutes, please.
Yeah, I'm planning on going through the budget. I mean, I'm a computer guy, but I do have a fair amount of accounting background as well. And it's very important in my line of business. As a comparison basis, I will look at that in the first couple of months after I'm elected.
And Cathy?
Well, I guess I'm not going to make excuses. I'm just going to tell you like it is that we do the absolutely best we can with the advice that we get from our staff. What I would like or would have loved is perhaps some comments from which municipality you're speaking of. When you look at our rates and how we do function, we have 3 sewage treatment systems. We have with our urban services and our water treatments, we have an extensive amount, as was said earlier, old infrastructure to bring up to date. But we've also brought in some incredible things to clean that up and to treat, and also some very innovative ways to split out the costs and make sure that each of those services are paying for themselves. This day and age, it's very difficult to be able to manage the costs when the things that come to us that we need for those treatment systems and the equipment to keep them up to snuff are growing in their cost. It's something that I know that over the years there have been concerns about that, and I guess it's something that council continually looks at when we're setting our rates. I would encourage, though, that anyone that has concerns about it to we'll be starting next month in November to look at our budget, to look at the projects that are coming, and to look at the expenses that are in front of us. So it's a cost of doing business. And as I said, I wish I knew what other municipalities we were being compared to, because some of them only have one treatment plant to look after.
Okay, thank you. The next question is along the same vein, to do with taxes. So what will you do to ensure our taxes are not raised in the next couple of years to give people a chance to rebound after COVID? This is a 1-minute response time, and Rob will start, and Cathy.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say I can't promise that. I promise that we will try to do the best with the tax dollars and go from there.
Thank you, Cathy.
Well, I would say ditto. But I think building on what Rob has said, the best thing that we can have when we're dealing with our budgets and dealing with the finances is your support, your input. I think it's great the number of people that are here tonight to listen and participate in what's going on. But we hear crickets at our budget meetings. We have open houses, we have opportunities for input, and that's your time to come and tell us what the projects are. We're almost like a business. A lot of our things are mandated in terms of our services and what we have to give out, and the expenses go accordingly. But there are some projects, whether you want certain parks, you want certain things upgraded or whatever, and we need to hear from you. It would be easy probably to lower a lot of things, but you would also have your services lowered accordingly. So your input is the best way that we can have to keep your taxes reasonable, your rates reasonable, and work together to make sure that we can afford what it is that you want and need. I got it.
Time, please. Thank you. And Jonathan, 1 minute, please.
Since I bought my house in 2008, my taxes have gone from $1,000 a year to $5,000 a year. Myself, all we've seen for that is the retire Petters Road. We're coming, as I said, we're coming out of a pandemic. We've had a lot of expenses through it. We can't promise anything on that fact. We have to look into it, look into the budget to see what we could trim to keep the taxes down.
Thank you. Question number 7 was also an advanced question to the candidates. Do you believe there's a duplication of duties between Lower Trent Conservation and the municipality of Trent Hills, mainly having to do with severances and building permits? If so, what do you suggest should be done? Let's start with Cathy. This is 2 minutes, please.
Okay, well, the answer is no, but I'll say more. Okay, there is no duplication, but it does need a bit of explanation. Conservation authorities are public sector organizations that are made up of a number of municipalities in a common watershed area. And in Trent Hills, we have 3 conservation authorities that serve us: the Crow Valley, the Lower Trent, and the Autonomy Region. And they're governed by the Conservation Authority Act to carry out specific responsibilities on behalf of the province. So when a member municipality receives policy documents and applications, they get them under the Planning Act. And if they fall within or adjacent to certain natural areas in the watershed, then they're submitted to the Conservation Authority for review and some comments. This could be anything from a plan of subdivision, official plan amendment, to severances, applications, or minor variances. So authority staff will use their expertise and knowledge that is not held by local municipal staff to review these and provide comments back. Some might say maybe they operate as the environmental arm of the municipality. But unfortunately, despite the long-term environmental and public safety role of the Conservation Authority, there are those that feel that CAs add an unnecessary level of bureaucracy and delay. So recently, the province did undertake a consultation on the role of the CAs and has made a number of changes to further define their core mandate. Those include additional oversight for the municipalities and the province, and improving the consistency and transparency of the programs and services. So to repeat what I said, they're closely linked in the work that they do, but there's no duplication.
Thank you, Jonathan. Response, please, 2 minutes.
I do agree with Cathy. The only difference I see is, for an example, when I built my facility, I had to have Lower Trent come in and do an assessment saying it was on a floodplain when I live on a hill. It's stuff like that. I think there should be some more communication between the two bodies. So there's a little less red tape. When you get one body saying you have prime agricultural land and Lower Trent says it's shrubland, there's got to be common ground between the two.
Thank you. And Rob, 2 minutes, please.
Thank you. Well, I think Cathy said it all. I did go try to attempt to find some information on this, and I could not find out via the budget how much we pay to the Lower Trent. I know their full budget is $1 million. Lower Trent also doesn't list their the amount the 7 municipalities give them, at least not online. The only real thing is, the permit delays. Is anything we can do to reduce the length of time it takes to get a permit, and will decrease the cost of somebody building. And at all levels, getting responsive replies to permits is something we should strive for.
Okay, thank you. The next question is, what can the municipality do to encourage the construction of badly needed lower cost rental housing? And what help and support can the municipality provide for disabled and homeless people in the area? 2 minutes, please. Jonathan, you will start.
I believe the acquisition of the house across from the chocolate factory was a good idea. I don't know a true count of the homeless we have. The main issue I'm concerned of is I reached out to a friend of mine who owns a sewage company, and I asked him, how many trailers do you pump out in the area? And his words were 50 to 100 trailers I pump out because people are living in trailers because they can't afford rent. I believe we are building more lower income housing, but I'm also hearing there's a big waiting list for that as well.
Thank you. Rob, 2 minutes, please.
Thank you. Well, homelessness, a lot of people are living rough, as Jonathan says. I think we have to, for the building permits, perhaps we need to reduce the minimum size of a unit so we can have more in the same area for less dollars. We also have to avail ourselves of county and provincial programs. And anything we can do to make it better for the people who are living rough, we should try to do it.
Thank you. And Cathy, 2 minutes, please.
Okay, thank you. It's very difficult to convince builders to build rental units that are not for profit. They want to make money, and so we need to find ways either through grants, federally, provincially, different ways to assist them to do that, or give them some reasons within our municipality. And I just finished reading the Trent Hills Affordable Housing Study, which is really interesting, very readable. It was done in 2019, and it's quite revealing about the situation in Northumberland County. And it does give some things that we could do. Because the county is responsible for the social housing, there are some things we can still do to assist them. For example, we can remove any planning barriers to allow for diverse and affordable types of housing so that they are acceptable. We can also develop a policy to address the use of surplus municipal lands and buildings for those builders that do need some kinds of perks to make them build those buildings. We can expand on our community improvement plan as well. We're already currently helping individuals to upgrade apartments, and perhaps we can do something to help them with building housing units. We can also consider some financial incentives by forgivable loans or deferrals or permits or fees. And I can also tell you that right now I am involved with some individuals who are looking at a really innovative and new building arm of a church organization that is looking at finding unused properties by churches or various areas where they can actually build housing and up to CMHC standards, but a third of the housing that's built will have to be accessible or attainable. So there are things coming, there is recognition. I think what we can do, bottom line, is put the planning in place and be receptive to innovative ideas.
Thank you. The next question comes from a resident who thinks there are 3 issues which require immediate action in Trent Hills. Number 1, climate change action. Number 2, affordable housing for seniors. And number 3, aging and home support. This resident's question is, would you consider sistering with a town in Norway or Sweden, for example, that is of comparable size and location in the countryside, where citizens are successfully living healthy, environmentally responsible lives? I think we can learn from their plans and decisions. This is a 1-minute response time, starting with Cathy, and then Rob and Jonathan.
Okay, I think I'd like to just start with the housing, but yes, I'd really be interested in learning from another country, another community, whether it's in terms of housing or the climate change, whatever. But I'd like to talk about the housing because there really is a crisis with our senior housing, not just for younger families, but also for seniors. And we need to be promoting as much as we can in terms of, for those that want to stay in their homes, to be able to have the healthcare workers available to them and the services that can come to them to keep them there. We also need forms of supportive housing like our multi-care lodge. We need to build more of that. And if we can get the project working with our hospital and the cooperative effort with Burn Great Gardens that it's hoping to do, that's going to help remedy that. We have Island Park, which has satisfied some of our retirement home needs, but it's the nursing homes and the assisted living facilities that we're all going to be looking at some point in time. We need to get those built. So they can give us ideas. I'm willing to take them.
Thank you, and Rob.
Well, I would say the answer is yes. I mean, anybody who's successful in solving any of the problems that we have, we should look at them, see if we can duplicate them. Not all areas are the same. Norway is much higher density. I don't believe it's full of winters, but certainly we should look at any worthwhile projects anywhere in the world and see if we can duplicate them.
Thank you. And then Jonathan.
Yes, I do agree with that. Knowledge and experience is power. It will bring us a long way. We will learn how to deal with climate change from others, always have open ears about it, and the sky's the limit with it.
Okay, thank you. And number 10, why is the new recreation wellness center smaller than it was originally presented? When is the new wellness center going to be built? Where and how much? And Nancy, I think this is helpful, but I think you got incumbent first. So Cathy, yeah. And I think I have it for Jonathan and Rob. Is an optional. You can choose or not choose to answer this if you want. But I think it's because, and it's 1-minute response. I think it's because of some of this full council. So
Okay. When's it going to be built? Well, it would have been built yesterday if I had my way. It's on track. We've confirmed that with staff. We're right up to snuff in terms of our schedule. They're supposed to be putting shovels in the ground. And I believe that probably one of the first decisions that the new council will be making is around some of the financial workings of it. It has gone down into the south part of town along the highway, and I believe Quarry Road. It's a new Quarry Road. In the corner of number 30 and Quarry Road, because it was some available land that the municipality had. It is smaller. In 2014, we were looking at something to be built at about $33 million, which at that point everybody was going, yes, sounds great. And of course, some of our staff used their pencils and their pens and fine-tuned everything down to around 17 million, which has been caused a bit of a delay because of the problems around COVID and supplies and so on. So we're looking between 17 and 20. And I forget the other question. Oh, pool.
that's fine.
Got all that stuff.
Yeah, I think you got it.
Got everything in.
Jonathan, Rob, it's optional for you to comment if you'd like to. Go ahead.
I will not comment. No.
The reason it's smaller is I see because of affordability. building supplies, wages, everything has gone up through the roof. So we have to cut and trim to what money we have. I believe it's built on Quarry Road, and I believe we're in the design phase, and I think we need some more funding for the projects to help us.
Thank you. Next question. How do you plan to involve residents in the decision-making process in Trent Hills? 1 minute response time, and we start with Rob, and Cathy, and Jonathan.
Well, I think I'd start with being open and letting them have all the information, how to contact me. I've got given it my cell, my email, my Facebook page. Don't use my Instagram; it's not that good. Stop me on the street. I'm always available between games at the squash club, and I'm open to hear everybody's ideas.
Cathy, 1 minute, please.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's vital for our quality of life to be able to find out what's going on in our community. And everyone should be able to be connected to what's going on. But unfortunately, changes to communication technology that made some of us right up to snuff on everything has shut out another group of individuals that are not so technological. So we should find ways to stop them from being excluded as well. So while we have things on social media, we should also make sure that there are some surveys and some flyers and some posters around in convenient places like libraries and in municipal offices. We have a local radio station that's great. And I see that the chambers on the TV station in Peterborough all the time with a lot of interesting things happening there. Public meetings and open houses when required and mandated. Council is now on YouTube. We're live streamed. You can watch it at your leisure or watch it live. And we've also mandated Zooming with our committee adjustment.
Time, please. Thank you. And Jonathan, the response, please. 1 minute.
I always pick up my phone. Anybody ever wants to talk, anybody who's ever come over, my neighbors have come over all the years just to talk. I'm always there to open ears. I'm always there to help them with your problems. Communication is key. For the people who don't have social media or don't have the technology, you've always showed up at the shop to have a coffee and just talk. I'm always there. And we need transparency.
Okay, thank you. This next question is kind of along the same line. This ratepayer would like more direct say in what projects are being done in the community, suggesting that major projects for items like hockey rinks, sports centers, and the like be part of a vote on the ballot and election plan, as well as non-infrastructure projects that require financing to be also directly approved by ratepayers. Will you add a vote option for such projects directly to the election ballot? 1 minute response, starting with Cathy, and Jonathan, then Rob.
Okay, well, first of all, I think it would be really difficult if we had to leave certain decisions for every 4 years because the ballot comes out every 4 years. I did ask the clerk, and I guess I didn't check my email to find out how much it costs to run an election. But if we're talking referendums when we need them and we're running a referendum, it would almost have to be the same way as running an election. And I'm not sure that, I mean, someone said earlier beside me here that you elect us to convey your thoughts to the council and whatever, and work through us. What it is that you want and what you need to say, work through us. I think it's even much less costly and more effective. Show up at our meetings, talk to us, call us on the phone. If they're that important, don't leave it for 4 years to have it on the ballot. We need to find out ahead of time.
Thank you, Jonathan.
I don't think that would be a good thing. Money wise, it's going to cost us more money. If you have a good counselor in your area, always go talk to them. If he's good, he'll go to bat for you, go to that counselor with your problems. I think that's all I can say about that.
And Rob? 1 minute.
Yeah, doing a referendum on each line item or even a big project is not cost effective. You know, the timing is suspect as well. You can't leave a program for 2 years to make a decision. So I think that's the input, the person should be doing it directly with the council.
Okay, thank you. Question number 13, lucky 13. How well do you think council responded to the rocket engine testing site being set up on Landstone Rural? And what, if anything, would you have done differently instead of the rock?
Well, as much as I understand, it's the council has passed it over to some legal authority, so I will not address that at all.
Okay, thank you. Cathy?
I need to be excused. I am on council.
Okay. Jonathan?
I'm still hearing from the residents about it, and because it's a legal matter now, I turned down the option to talk about it.
Thank you. Question number 14 was an advanced question. It's 2-minute response, starting with Cathy, then Jonathan and Rob. And the question is, a draft bylaw and change to the official plan regarding short-term accommodation rentals was recently presented to council. What is your opinion on how Trent Hills Council should proceed with short-term accommodation rentals? Cathy, 2 minutes, please.
Okay. Well, short-term accommodations or STAs serve a useful purpose when there's a shortage of rental properties. They suit individuals looking for a special type of experience, and they provide additional income for local property owners. An increasing number of inquiries did prompt staff to bring the matter to council, and there's information on the website if you're interested. A public meeting was held to receive input, and council's now waiting for our staff recommendations, but no decisions have been made. It's apparent there's a great difference in how STAs are being operated. And while I support allowing short-term accommodations, my approval will require some policies and guidelines to be put in place. I'd like assurance that the character and the quality of the existing neighborhoods will not be impacted. We need methods by which we can encourage their existence in areas more suited for this type of accommodation, while limiting the possibility of conflict between the residents and the visitors. And we need methods to ensure that the operators are aware of and following local bylaws and property standards. The proposed regulations should also establish things like the maximum number of guest rooms and number of guests per room. We need to include a code of conduct that will be signed by the renters, require site plans and unit layouts, and have regular inspections. And we must have some fines and penalties, including the ability to revoke licenses for ongoing violations. And it must be mandatory to have a responsible person available to attend to the premises within a set time limit. As well, the municipality must address the concerns expressed regarding bylaw support, and perhaps either look at increasing our staff complement or engaging in after-hours answering service that would direct SDA-related complaints directly to the responsible person to take care of. But no matter what decisions are made, we have to provide ongoing opportunities for feedback from both the operators and the community at large.
Thank you. Jonathan, your response, 2 minutes, please.
I do agree with Cathy. As an owner of a short-term rental, not in this area, I work with Airbnb. The area that I have the house in thrives on short-term rentals. The policies and procedures that Cathy mentioned, we have in place, inspections, bylaws, legal teams. I do think it would be good for the area. We do need a happy medium. I understand there's some people that aren't too happy about it, but it's a big income for this area, and I do think we support it.
You do, and finally, Rob.
Yeah, I believe that short-term rentals are here to stay. We have many good owners, some poor owners, and we have to regulate the poor ones, and the good owners are also required to be licensed. I thought there was a fairly detailed draft bylaw and staff report out there. They both look pretty good. There's certainly some tweaking to be done, and I plan to look at other bylaws and other municipalities to compare them. Certainly there's no how we enforce the bylaws, licensing fees will be one of the issues that we have to look at. I feel that the short-term rental owners should be paying for the cost to be regulated and licensed. businesses in this town pay about double the taxes, so it seems only fair.
Yeah, thank you. The next question, are you in favor of eliminating the ward system to create one community and have an open election where all votes for mayor, deputy mayor, and 3 councillors are large? It's a 1-minute response time, starting, it was Jonathan and Rob and Cathy. 1 minute, please.
Yes and no. Yeah, I do like the new system. It gives you, I think it gives you a more personal touch to it. You have, for less people, you have your member of council, but living here all my life, I've always had councillors like Bill Thompson and that, and the old system worked great. To pick and choose, I can't pick and choose on it right now.
Okay. Rob?
I'll let you know after 2 or 3 years.
All right, Cathy?
Well, I've run in both, and I think that in a way, I'm almost like Jonathan has said, there is value in having a smaller group of individuals to represent, but I think you can also get focused on just their issues to the exclusion of the overall, umbrella view. I think it really is good to go down and find how far Trent Hills does extend down to the other side of Workroom and on in down towards Rosemead. It would surprise you where some of those boundaries are. It's pretty interesting to head along the river and see some of those side roads down by the river in Hastings and find places that you never knew existed. And to just have to reach out and meet those individuals and learn what is important, because the priorities in one corner of Seymour are certainly different from some of the priorities down on the other side of Percy and Myersburg and Myers Island. They're all different. So we should get to know them regardless.
Thank you. This is a 2-minute response time. And you ask, starting with Rob, what are your 3 top issues for Ward 2? How would you address them?
Well, I'll go for Trent Hills as a whole, and in no particular order. Policing and bylaw enforcement, hospital redevelopment. Good thing I got lots more time to think about this. So many options. I guess the rec center development.
Okay, thank you. John, yes.
So Ward 2, one example, the south part of Pedrick's Road, just past Doug Jeff's farm, the bend. I don't know how many times I've come past it, and you've got somebody coming on the same side of the road as you. That would be one of my major issues I would like to address. They're working on it now. The other issues are more policing, but I do see the officers up and down Burnbrae, up 38 a lot. And my third issue would be we need some more bodies within the municipality to help with road maintenance, brush cutting, ditch clearing, and stuff like that.
Okay, thank you. And Cathy, your response? 2 minutes, please.
Well, I'll give the 3 that I gave in my opening comments, and I'll do it in reverse order because I keep hearing the same thing. Is the good roads, and for the township, good roads, as I said, are the backbone of that rural community's economy. That's how they get from one place to another. And as individuals move more and more out of the cities and onto our waterfronts and onto our hills, and they start developing, they are also looking for the services, the school buses, whatever is necessary to get out there. I think that the other one is that's very important is the prosperity of our farms and making sure that they're able to operate and function as they need to. And they don't get fringed in by all kinds of development that makes it difficult for them, because that is a special part of this community and it needs to be supported. And the other one is just the addressing those issues around our tourists and the people that are coming to visit, to make sure that they come, they like this place, they can stay here. Many of them end up being full-time residents opening businesses, and home-based businesses and others are working out there and making sure that we bring the services to them. And the one that I haven't mentioned yet, though, is the bringing in the Wi-Fi, the internet, and that infrastructure is very important. And we need to lean on our provincial member to ensure that that's there for by 24, who has promised. Because I think if anything is going to do anything for anyone out in Ward 2, it's going to ensure that they all have the connections that they need.
Thank you. We've done really well here. We're down to the last question, and then we'll have some closing remarks. And the last question is, how would you encourage a sense of community well-being in Trent Hills? So 1 minute response time, please. We'll go in order of the table, starting with Jonathan.
Please, that's a tough one. Community support. I understand that everybody's agile, everybody's uptight. We're a beautiful community. We need to all get along. That's all I can say.
Thank you. Well,
I mean, this is difficult to bring communities together. Obviously, any events throughout the municipality, they either tend to be in one of the urban centers. So to contribute, I mean, there's so many feel-good things we can do. The events we have to get out and support them. I mean, we live in a great place with great people. And we just have to work through our differences.
thank you. And Cathy?
Community well-being. All I can think of is praise in public, criticize in private. When we're talking about our community, we need to be positive. Whether it's our chamber, which is extremely positive. Our council needs to be positive. Our organizations need to have a positive vision. We need to keep talking positively and not looking and trying to center out those things that aren't working very well, because that's what people are going to focus on. There's too much focus on negative. There's too much focus on what happened in the last 2 years. We need to be having a vision. I know that the new council will be working on a strategic plan and having a vision for the future. And I think that's what we need to focus on as a community. People are drawn to the landscapes, our small town friendliness, and the quieter way of life that our rural communities bring. That's what's going to create that kind of quality of life and that special spirit that brings us together, and leave the other stuff behind. We don't need the negativity.
All right, thank you. So we're at the very end of the program. We're going to have a 2-minute closing remarks from each candidate, and the order, as you can see, we're keeping trying to move the order around, so it's fair to everyone. So we're going to start with Cathy, and then Jonathan, and then Rob. So your 2-minute closing remarks, please.
Okay, thank you. Tonight, we've dealt with some of the issues important to the life and work of Ward 2 and of Trent Hills. And the best voter is an informed voter. So thanks to all of you for taking time to be here. I believe that the future success of our community depends a great deal on its ability to have more than just representation. It needs leadership. Strong and positive leadership that balances the wants and needs of the individual and of the overall community. Leadership with the experience and skills and knowledge necessary to make difficult decisions based on what's right for the citizens. And leadership that will help you think ahead to where you want to be, listen to what you have to say, and help you create a plan to get there. And leadership that can distinguish between fact and emotion, analyze situations, take decisive action while inspiring others to do the same. So it's my hope you'll select me as one of those leaders. As a voice of Ward 2 on council, I will work to ensure the best use of our resources, natural, human, and financial. And while the municipality may not be a business, it can be managed in a business-like manner, with services and initiatives measured by their place in the overall plan and evaluated regularly, tax rates and user fees kept affordable, and staff who are responsive and effective, providing detailed reports, regular updates, and realistic long-term plans. And we must conduct your business, the public's business, in an atmosphere of openness, respect, and involvement for all. Many things can be said in the heat of an election campaign, but the manner in which a candidate runs for office usually mirrors how that person will respect and work with the public once they're elected. And the leaders you select will be your leaders for the next 4 years. So I hope you will decide that I should be part of that leadership team and support me with your vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Jonathan, 2 minutes, please.
I'm rough around the edges. I'm cranky sometimes. But there's always one thing you'll find from me is I'll pick up the phone, I'll listen to you, and I will fight tooth and nail for you. But anything I've learned through all this is we've got to come together, and I want to be your voice. You're voting me in here. I want to be your voice. I'm working for you.
Thank you. And Rob, 2 minutes, please.
First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for coming, the chamber for running the event. I have a lot of business experience. I hope to bring new ideas. I'm not running against Jonathan or Cathy. I'm running to bring my ideas to the council and the community. I'm allocating the time necessary to do this job and to do it well. And I know there's a lot to learn. And I believe I can do that in a reasonable amount of time. And I will do the best job I can for you.
Good. Thank you very much. Let's give Jonathan, Cathy, and Rob a round of applause.